podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Welcome to the Dragon's Lair in association with the Riverside Sports Bar in Newport, an American-style bar with a proper Welsh feel.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the Dragon's Lair podcast in association with Riverside Sports Bar, the home of live sport and great food in Newport. I'm Jamie and joining me as always is Gavin Thomas and Gareth Leclerc. How are we, gents?
Yeah, I'm well.
Yeah,
Gareth,
been better.
okay?
No hangover this week. Just a bit sad.
Yeah, I was going to ask, are you okay?
Yeah, lost for words almost. Not an ideal way to start a pod, saying you're lost for words, but
No.
yeah, not feeling particularly hopeful at the minute.
I told you this would happen, didn't I? I warned you we'd be
You
doing
did.
our
You
regular
did.
therapy session.
I really like the off season. I'm not going to lie. Really enjoy that. A lot of optimism builds, get a bit of excitement, new kit, and then when the actual rugby starts, yeah, it sort of fades away quite quickly, doesn't it?
Yeah, reality bites, doesn't it? That's
Yeah.
the problem. Before we get into it, I want to give a few shout outs because we've had some more nice mentions for the pod this week. Some really nice messages. So on Spotify, no name given, just a bunch of numbers. I thought it was a Russian bot when I first looked at it, but I've seen his playlist, so I assume it's a real person. But yeah, anonymous person says, really enjoy the podcast from a Connacht supporter. You are a credit to your club. We are a credit to the club, boys. It's nice, isn't it?
Fantastic.
Whether the Dragons see it that way, I don't know, but we are a credit to the club.
Potato.
Yes. Harry Nelson got in touch via YouTube. Hello, Harry. And he said this. Me and my dad both said how much better the Dragons looked against Glasgow. From two Glasgow fans. Great podcast, becoming a must listen for myself every week now. Which is great, isn't it? So thank you, Harry, for listening. You know, as a Glasgow fan, you're taking time out of your day to listen to a Dragons podcast. That's really appreciated. And yeah, I stand by what we said on the pod last week. I know the score was terrible, but that performance really wasn't as bad as some were saying. And
Yeah.
listening to other podcasts in the week, it was pretty clear to me that people who had actually watched the game and those that made a lazy assumption based on the scoreline, I think it became pretty clear to me. So yeah, scoreline terrible, but honestly, the performance was not that bad. But yeah, thank you very much for listening to us. Even as a Glasgow supporter, you're taking time out to listen to us. That's much appreciated. We've had a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. This is really nice one. So this is what I'll find this name. No, I've lost his name. I will find it. No, I'll just read the review first. So it goes like this. This pod always delivers. Jamie and the guys are always honest and they don't sugarcoat anything, giving a real fan opinion on the state of the club on and off the field. You're going to like this bit now, Gaff. You're going to like this. Mr. Leclerc has been a great addition. Love his positivity. What do you think of that? He loves your positivity, mate.
Dear, well, I don't want to let you down, but
Well, the question is, are you feeling positive after that performance on Friday night?
not right now. But you can't be a Dragons fan and be happy losing to Cardiff, can you? So no, not too positive at the minute, but we'll see if we can find something.
And that was from Matt Owen over on Apple. So thank you, Matt, for listening. Cheers for that review. 5 stars. Yeah, nice one, mate. And yes, you have been a positive addition. The only problem is we haven't won a game since you've appeared on this pod, Gaff, which is making me really question things now.
We did beat Newcastle, but Gareth wasn't on that episode.
No. Is it positive or deluded? I'm not sure.
I mean, it could be a bit of both. I don't know, but
Yeah,
it is good. Yeah. I think we need you on the pod, though. You know, we do need that positivity because otherwise it'll be too miserable if it's just me and Gavin. Because you are by far the most optimistic person on this.
It's not saying much, is it?
Not really, no. But you know, you are the most positive and optimistic person. Right. We need to get into it then. We didn't want to do this tonight, but we got to. Shall we do the post-mortem of what happened on Friday night? So Dragons 17, Cardiff 24. A Welsh derby that, let's be honest, was very low on quality. Friend of the pod, Phil Steele, I thought he summed it up well when he said, that was a match that fell out of the ugly tree and hit every branch on the way down. Yes, perfectly put that is Phil. It was a bit of a stinking game, wasn't it? So, Dragons extend their winless record to Cardiff, losing a whopping 21 games in a row. Yeah, not great, but we knew he was coming, didn't we? Don't be fooled by the scoreline. Cardiff were comfortable throughout the entire game, and they didn't even have to go to second gear. And given the backdrop in Welsh rugby, given the fact that the squad was rotated for Glasgow to target this game, and Lyn Jones' pre-match comments, which we'll come on to later, because we really do need to discuss that, you have to say this was a very disappointing performance for the Dragons, and the timing couldn't be worse. Veteran journalist Graham Thomas, who covered this game for Dragon Sport, says, not a performance that screams, I will survive. That's pretty damning, isn't it? Not a performance that screams, I will survive. Gav, let's come to you then first. So, as we just mentioned, you are the most positive and most optimistic person on this pod. But I think even you've got to admit, what we saw on Friday, given the context of everything in Welsh rugby, given that a team that was supposed to be fighting for our lives, Lyn Jones's comments, you would hope would spark something. It was same old Dragons, wasn't it? Absolute rubbish.
Yeah, can't get away from it. Absolutely gutted. I think all Dragons fans look in the calendar and circle this one when the fixtures are announced. It was a game where you know the fans need to get behind the team because we're going to need that extra percent. Dragged along as many people as I could as well. Try and get in good voice, lewd up the vocal cords beforehand in the pub. But yeah, it just felt massively disappointing. You know, there are some positives player-wise. Players like Aaron Wainwright, we know he's quality. But he was quality again, and how he manages to continuously shine in our team is beyond belief at times. But he's fantastic, and I thought young Harry Beddle for his first URC start thought acquitted himself quite well. I do like the power Ackerman brings in the centre, although we played 2-12, so there's no balance. But I do like the power he can bring, and I thought Brody as well at times looked good. But the kicking game, I think, is where we massively blew it. I thought Aled Davis was the best player on the park for them. And it was just a stark contrast watching him kicking the ball from the base, and his box kicking was superb. The Cardiff's exits were really good, whilst some of our kicks were either going straight up, sideways, and the whole crowd was groaning. And on the crowd as well, we wanted to back the boys and make a lot of noise. Brody scores after 5 or 6 minutes after we'd had a terrible start with Cardiff scoring. We didn't score another point until the 71st minute. You go 65 minutes without scoring a point. It's hard to just keep that atmosphere going. And it did feel flat on the terrace, but it's a two-way street. We need something to get behind. And at times I just didn't see it. There was just basic errors. And we just, for a derby, we didn't have that bitiness that I expected. You want to see us really come out fighting, and beyond a couple of players, we just didn't have that snap. And the record's shocking. I sort of want to look at the Dragons this season and forget last season and forget records and, you know, us being on a poor run and just take us for what we are. But you can't ignore that record over Cardiff. It is embarrassing. And it is a good Cardiff side. You take nothing away from them. They're a decent team this year, but they didn't have to be a decent team on Friday night. They didn't do anything special. We kept a lot of their better players quite quiet, to be honest. But yeah, just pretty gutted. And I don't know whether it was going to get mentioned later, but the players not coming over and clapping the fans at the end of the game. What's that about? That for me was really disappointing. The players were in a big huddle for quite a while, but there was a lot of people left on the terrace. We always clap the team at the end of the game because they have put on the shirt for the Dragons, and they have, you know, they have put their bodies on the line. We wanted to clap them, and they didn't come over, which I thought was really poor. And I've not seen the Dragons team do that before, so not sure what happened there. But that was really disappointing.
Yeah, I saw a number of fans saying about that. That is really disappointing to you. Yeah. Why didn't they go to the terrace? Why not?
Yeah, it's not what you expect, especially after a derby and, you know, with a big crowd behind us. Yeah, poor on the pitch. it led to a poor atmosphere, even though there was a good crowd. And yeah, just a massive shame, really, that you look forward to this fixture and it definitely fell flat on its face. And I've definitely not watched it back because I can't put myself through it again.
Unfortunately, I did watch it back. The atmosphere fell flat when Cardiff ran in their third try, didn't they? In the side, was it 20 minutes? They scored their third try. That's when it fell flat.
Yeah.
There was actually a good atmosphere beforehand. There was a lot of buzz around the ground. But I think at that point, everyone knew, same old Dragons, we know what's coming here. It felt like game over in that first half, didn't it?
Well, you just said they ran in their third try in 20 minutes. Yeah, it was the 19th minute. You're at home in a tight Welsh derby and you can see 3 tries in 20 minutes. That is just not good enough.
No.
That is just, you do not expect that from a derby. You should be looking to shut them out and make it really, really difficult. Cardiff did not have to work for those scores. They didn't, their tries aren't going on highlight reels. They weren't anything fantastic. We were poor. We were poor.
Yeah, we were. I thought we did a decent job of shutting out Tom Bowen and Josh Adams' mind because I thought they were going to cause us a lot of problems. I felt we dealt with Josh Adams pretty well. Tom Bowen looked dangerous every time he had the ball, but credit to Harry Berry putting an excellent tackle on him. He was heading for the try line in the second half. I think Southworth scored eventually from that move, but
he did. But
it was a very good dominant tackle by
yeah.
Harry Bedell. We'll talk about him in a
we did keep their backs quiet, and our centres. Even though you can't really pick 2 12s, but the balance in they actually performed well, really. But Cardiff didn't have to do anything special to win the game. The problem was what we did with the ball, not what Cardiff did with it. In these days, teams are scoring a lot of points. Scoring 24 points, is that enough to get you a win? We should have been looking to get more. 17 points at home in a derby is poor. And when Angus kicked that penalty at the end and we're going for the last play to get a draw, I just didn't even care. What
was the mood and feeling on the terrace like, Gav, around you? Like, did you hear anything being mentioned around, the state of the team and players not coming over? Like, what was you hearing? What was the vibe after the game?
People just shocked that they felt that we didn't turn up as a team.
Yeah.
And we didn't show that fighting spirit that we hope for and that we think we've got in that side. And yeah, people are unhappy. People literally question what the players doing, starting to walk over to their mums over on the Bisley. You're like, well, hang on. What about, you always come and clap the fans. That's just not on. We're there ready to clap and sing. There's a big crowd. So yeah, just disappointment. And then a lot of people who get dragged along to these games I spoke to genuinely a few people who haven't been to many games before, and they're like, yeah, not going to bother with that. That was rubbish. And you're like, it's just a chance for us to put on a spectacle and get people to return. Because they go, God, that was a great night at Rodney Parade. Friday night, what a game, what an atmosphere. When's the next one? You go, Ospreys home next week. Get people back. But no, that's not going to happen.
No, there would be such a buzz about this Ospreys game if we'd beaten Cardiff, or even just if we put in a better performance. But it all feels very flat again, doesn't it?
If we had won, I'd still be out.
You probably would. You absolutely would. But we'll come on to the listeners' comments later because we asked them for their thoughts and opinions, and it's pretty damning. And there's so many comments about the attack, and it's a big, big problem. And we can't keep burying our heads in the sand. Something needs to be done about it.
Yeah,
something needs to be done. Gavin, let's come to you then. You watched the game on TV. What did you make of it? Why do you think the Dragons were so flat to begin with? Do you have any sort of explanation?
Well, so here's my hot take, the first of a number this evening.
Excellent.
Derbies matter to fans. I don't think they matter to players as much.
Really?
Yeah.
But that's not what we're told. We're told that there's an extra edge in training when there's Derby week.
I find that hard to believe. They're professionals. Just do your job.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, I've got enough. I'm not basing it on anything other than, what's driving. I might, Wayne. Oh, yeah, he might be a bit more driven by that. But if you're in EC, He doesn't know. He doesn't care. He just wants to play rugby. That's his job. And I think we all, including us, we all put so much value on it that when it gets to the game, we were only going to be disappointed. I just, felt that was the case. We were only going to be disappointed because we all put so much value on it. But about the game itself, I think there was a difference. Cardiff were competent, nothing more than that. But we weren't. We weren't completing attacking phases. We didn't look dangerous. And in the last 10 minutes, when Angus and Kai Evans both wriggled through gaps, but that's desperation stuff. There was no structure there, and nothing came of it because both of them just ran off on their own in the hope of, making some space and making some distance. We just lacked structure, and every time we attacked, it was easy to defend. Cardiff didn't have to do a lot defensively. They just had to match numbers and make tackles, which you would hope professional rugby players would be able to do fairly competently, to use that word again. And this isn't a new thing. This isn't something that's this season we've gone, oh, well, this and that. Yeah, I go back to when the pod started, Jamie, and you and I, what were the things we talked about? Not being able to just carry out the fundamentals and lack of attacking structure.
Basics, discipline, and attack were the three things we talked about more than anything. And guess what? 3 years later, still happening.
Yeah, here we are. What is it, 80 odd episodes later, we're saying the same things.
Yeah.
Well, either we've got it wrong or they've got it wrong. Don't think it's us.
It's not us. It's definitely not us.
And the kicking game, I've seen lots of comments by the listeners. Oh, why are we kicking it away? There's nothing wrong with kicking the ball. A kicking game can be very effective. If you kick it badly, as we did, particularly on Friday night, well, that's not because there's a fundamental issue with the kicking game. That's because we just carried it out badly. Yeah, and it wasn't just Angus. Rodri's box kicking that wasn't great. And Tina, who I thought, really put himself about. His kicking wasn't ideal either. Yeah, it's if you're going to do something, do it well, or just play it in a different way. Yeah. And the problem was, we kicked badly throughout the entire game, and nobody had the sense to go, right, it's not working tonight, we'll try something else. There were positives, like you say. I think we kept Bowen and Winnett and Josh Adams quiet. I thought, the scrum looked all right. Don't know why I'm picking that up as a positive, but
really any scrums were there either?
Yeah, but when it was fine.
Yeah.
Bedell, I thought played well. I think centre is a big issue for us. I don't think that's why the attack's not working, but it is an issue. But it's, I think we still could be playing now when we wouldn't have won that game. Because where does it come from? Where does the match winning bit come from?
Yeah. Even on. Sorry, Gav.
Go on with.
On your bit where you're saying the players might not care as much as us about Derby, it's probably right, to be fair, because it is a job and they've got to have week in, week out processes. But the Welsh selectors are there. The squad gets named on Tuesday. There's a lot of players there. Like, go and dominate your opposite man. Put yourself in the picture.
But, this is a point, I suppose, where this is my clunky analogy of the week. This is a serious situation, right? Not only Wales selection coming up, but also, none of the clubs know what's going to happen. So you want to do the very best you can do. And it's a bit like they know the house is on fire, but instead of turning up with a hose, they're turning up with a water pistol and thinking, now we'll get the job done. It just lacks there's no sense of urgency. There's no sense of urgency. There's no sense of, backs to the wall now. And I was saying to you before we recorded, I coach under 12 side, started very poorly, and I pulled them to one side. Are you just going to let them do that to you? And then they fought so fiercely, our boys did. And, if a bunch of 11 and 12-year-olds can respond to that, why aren't professionals? And it's not ability, because there's very able players in our team. More able
there's
players.
talent in that squad, I would say. I think they're being poorly coached, if I'm being honest.
I think that's where it comes down to. It's
not
not a
playing
lack
to
of
the
talent.
sum of our parts, are we?
No,
we are actually weaker than the sum of our parts, which is.
But what's the excuse then for this season? Because last season we were told that the squad wasn't good enough. We accumulated all these injuries. You can only work with what you've got. Well, we're all saying that this is the best Dragon squad we've ever had, particularly on paper, but they're still not performing. So what does that come down to then? Why is
coaching.
that? It's coaching, isn't it? Obviously,
it's coaching. It's coaching and it's mindset.
Well, if you think with the coaching as well, we want to change the culture at the club, things like that constantly mentioned. So we've made so many player changes for every year, but to what we think is to better us this year. But the coaching staff, like Dean Ryan was sacked and we promoted Di Flan from within. So he was already embedded in the culture. Di Flan gets sacked. We appoint Philo from within. So the culture doesn't change. Bringing in one coach this summer isn't going to change the culture that's already there. And for me, it's nothing against the actual coaches. They're probably all very capable coaches. Di Flan's doing great now at Surrey's. Their attacks flying.
Yeah.
They're all capable coaches. But I feel like I don't want to change a coach. I feel like the whole coaching setup needs changing to have no lingering mindset before, nothing being dragged over. It needs to be like a complete fresh start. So, I would quite harshly sack the lot.
Fair enough. I mean, it's not going to happen.
No, I didn't mean it quite that
season.
harshly,
No,
but you know
I
what
know what you mean. Yeah.
Something needs, but you're right. There is something that's not working. It's clockwork, isn't it? One of those wheels isn't clicking with another wheel, and you don't know which wheel it is.
Philo came out with the understatement of the century when he said after the game, "We need to be better." Nice one, Philo. Yeah, spot on, mate. Bit of an understatement.
But that's not helpful either, is it? Because we don't know what's happening when they go up to Estrid. We don't know what it looks like on the training paddock. But we, as fans, are saying these things. We need to hear our coach saying, right, it wasn't good enough. We're going to do this. We're going to do that.
Yeah, I want to hear something about what are we doing to fix it? Like, I think rugby in general maybe isn't great at that with community. You do get a lot of just media nonsense, but tell us what does Philo actually think went wrong, and what's he going to do to fix it? We deserve to know.
Yeah, to be fair, he didn't just say that. That was just one of the things he said. But he also said, we've got to review the game, and the powerful truth is the truth. We must make adjustments. Every derby is a motivation to get up, and we have another big home derby next week against the Ospreys. We have got to use the time to reflect and look at ways to get better. He also said our focus needs to be on improving in areas we need to improve on. It's all very beige, isn't it? It's all on guff, really. Nothing really that makes you think, inspires you or makes you confident in things are going to change. He says we need to make some shifts, otherwise teams in the URC will make you pay. Well, yeah, they've been doing that for the past, 3-4 years since, the URC turned into the URC. It's a tough league. It's an extremely tough league, and Dragons seem to think they're playing 10, 15 minutes here and there, good, decent rugby for 10, 15 minutes is going to be enough, and it's not. It's just not enough at all. Yeah.
And the other thing that's coming out as well, and again, this is my bandwagon. Oh, but this would be different if we were playing in England. No, it wouldn't.
No, really, no.
No, we'd just be getting shellacked by Northampton and Saracens instead of getting shellacked by everyone else.
Can you imagine this
some
Dragons
good bloody
team?
Teams in England.
Can you imagine this Dragons team playing Saracens?
I
don't you be thinking about.
I wouldn't want to get sitting on a migraine just thinking about that.
And they absolutely battered Sale, didn't they? On the weekend. Imagine what they do. Imagine what they do to us. Imagine what they do to us.
I seen a comment online. Someone said it was Aaron Wainwright v Cardiff. I was like, yeah.
It did feel like that. It did feel like that.
Well, you feel for him, though, don't you? You do feel for
Well,
him.
I've got that written down in my notes. I'll talk about it in a bit. So
Yeah.
my takeaways are, as I said earlier, not a great spectacle for Welsh rugby. Yes, Welsh rugby, derbies, they're tetchy, they're niggly. They're never classics, really. But I thought this was a game very low on quality from both teams. Cardiff were no great shakes. They did what they had to do, but trust me, they did not look like a top 5 team. Speaking of Welsh selectors, me and Dad were sat next to the Welsh selectors. Do you see us on the telly? I had several
Oi, oi.
messages from people saying, "You're on the telly, you're on the telly." Yeah. Steve Tandy is a lovely guy. We had a nice chat. I wished him well for the autumn series. We were talking before the game. He was saying that the weather's nice and the pitch is looking really good. I said, yeah. I said, hopefully we have a good game of rugby and say we could really do with a win now, Steve. We're all a bit desperate for a win. And Steve Tandy said, yeah, it's been a while, isn't it? No shit, Steve. It's been a long time. It's been 13 months since the Dragons have won a game. So, yeah, that was quite funny. Jockey as well, Matt Shout, really lovely guy. Shook his hand. Danny Wilson, yeah, he lives up to his dour reputation. Per that way, he was a little bit miserable, if I'm honest. But yeah, it was good to see him. Reece Priestland as well was sat behind us. And then Richie Reese. It was like being in Welsh rugby celebrity world. I was just surrounded by all these Welsh rugby celebrities. It was nice. It was good. So
Did Tandy ask you who we should pick on Tuesday then, or?
I didn't want to be that guy. I didn't want to be that one. So, Steve, what are you thinking in terms of selection then? I mean, because I didn't want to make him feel uncomfortable.
He'd have said, "Fucking none of these."
It does make me think, what on earth did he think of that game, first of all, as a spectacle? And it did make me think, secondly, are there any Dragons players that's going to get into Wales, bar Aaron Wainwright and Ben Carter? We will have that conversation a bit later, though. Great game. I'll say it before and I'll say it again. Dragons don't deserve Aaron Wainwright. He was fantastic yet again in a losing cause. I don't know if any of you saw the report in the Daily Mail last week. Aaron Wainwright is allegedly one of the Welsh players that have signed up to R360. Aaron is 28 years old now, I think. He has been incredibly loyal to the Dragons, but I do think he needs to have a good think about his future. I don't think this will get off the ground, this R360, but if it does, then I don't think anyone's going to blame him.
I think they've not signed contracts or anything. It's just
it's signed an expression.
A pre-agreement, isn't it? Yeah, that they would be open to. I think quite a few people have signed it. I saw something like about 300 people have signed it.
So allegedly 10 players, Welsh players, have signed up, and some of these players are Louis Rees-Zammit, Thomas Williams, Dewi Lake, Nicky Smith, Talupe Fado, and Josh Adams. Those were the names that were mentioned in this Daily Mail report. But I think it's clear, though, that this is going to be Aaron's last season. I can't see him staying. And quite frankly, we don't deserve him because every single week he has been brilliant in a losing cause. And you just want him to be part of something special and successful. And we're just not giving to him in a minute. And it feels like we're putting so much burden on his shoulders every single time. And I genuinely feel for him. He was fantastic on Friday night. Another player that was impressive, though, was Wales under-20s captain Harry Beddle, making his first start for the club. I was really impressed with him. His stats are good. 6 carries, 22 tackles, more than any other player, Cardiff and Dragons, 3 dominant tackles on 2 turnovers. Very well played, young man. He was good, wasn't he, guys?
He's good at slowing the ball down, which I've been saying for a while. We need somebody who can do that. Yeah.
Gareth, he was impressed with Beddle as well, wasn't he?
Yeah. But it gives us balance as well. A proper 7. That's what we've lacked. Yeah. Like him.
Yeah, good player. Big talent.
Punches above his weight, doesn't he?
He certainly does, yeah. Welsh Rugby's most maligned player, Kai Evans, made his first appearance for the Dragons since January. Came off the bench in the 72nd minute. He did all right, I thought. He found some gaps. I thought he did okay. What about you, Gav? Did you think he did all right?
It was that point in the game, wasn't it, where we decided to start throwing everything at them in the last few minutes. So it sort of suited anyone who was on the pitch to look like good. But yeah, he's a tidy player. I think he gets a lot of harsh criticism. He's quite a good nuts and bolts player, I think, to be fair.
He's not going to set the world alight, but he does what he needs to do, which is I've always been very positive about him, and I just think he's a player who does the basics well. And we've got some players who don't.
Yeah, and I know it was due to injuries that Hugh Anderson went on the wing, but I'd have really liked Hugh Anderson at fullback for those when we're throwing the kitchen sink at them and running everything back, because he is a bit more electric than anyone else we have at 15.
Yeah. I bumped into Harley Worthy from Rap, as did you, Gareth. We had a couple of pints with him in the pub. And I bumped into Ben James from Wales Online, and we had an interesting chat about Kai Evans and other things off the record. But yeah, it was good to see him back. Like, we didn't think he'd be available till the new year, and he's made a swift return. And yeah, it was good to see him back. I think he's a tidy player. He's slow, but he's tidy, and he's got a good boot on him. So yeah, good to see him back, as I said. As I correctly predicted on last week's pod, Cardiff did rush back to Fairtel because that's what they always do against the Dragons. And as expected, it was like he'd never been away. You know, when you're seeing comments from people saying, oh, good Talupe is, it's like, well, have you not been paying attention for the past 15, 20 years? This is what he does. Talupe Faletau could have months out of the game, and he could come back and he can play like he's never been away. He's always been that type of special player.
Wales' greatest ever forward.
Produced by the Dragons.
Yeah, well, we don't produce anything, but yeah.
Yeah, we've done nothing for 20 years.
I used to see a very small Talupe Faletau walk into the butchers in the centre of Ebbvale with his dad.
Oh, never.
In the late 90s, when his dad played for Ebbvale.
Yeah, so obviously I always want Tupi to have a quiet game when he plays the Dragons, but it was nice to see him back. I love him to bits. I don't care if he plays for Cardiff. He will always be a Dragons legend. He will always be remembered for what he did at the Dragons. He won't be remembered for anything he did with Cardiff. He will be our player, legend. And our player always. He's a legend. And yeah, great to see him back. Not good that he scored, but it was nice to see him back. And it's good for Wales as well. Very, very important.
He's a great player.
Legend. One of the best players of my generation, certainly.
Yeah, him and the Vunipolas, all good Ebbvale lads.
Absolutely, yeah.
Like the thing you were saying about Aaron Wainwright, now, because I'm older than you, I remember worse times, but I don't know if any of you remember Robert Jones, the former Wales scrum half. And I always felt sorry for Robert Jones because he played behind an awful pack and you could see he was world class. And when he went in the Natal, playing behind dominant forwards, you're like, oh my God, what a great player he is. And yeah, I'd love to see Wainwright just surrounded by slightly better players.
Yeah, well, let's not forget, Talupe Faletau learned his craft, getting the ball out of a retreating scrum from spending years at the Dragons.
Yeah.
So he was taught well, wasn't he? Let's be honest.
Just don't go to Cardiff, Wayno. Just not Cardiff. Go wherever you want. Go and challenge for trophies, so not Cardiff.
He needs to leave Wales.
Yeah.
He needs to either go to England, France, and if he wants to do the R360, I mean, he will lose his Wales place if that happens. But yeah, I think it's time in his career now. He needs to have a serious think about what he wants to do. He's an absolute legend. We love him to bits, but he must want to win a game, mustn't he?
He's given more than enough.
I'd like to see him at Quins or somewhere, just because I could go and see him more often.
Yeah, Bristol would be fun because they're an unserious team. You can imagine him having good fun canoe at Bristol. But yeah, legend of a player, as is Faletau. Our discipline in the first half was poor. I did have a few messages during the game from people texting me saying that we've been shafted by the ref. There were some decisions mine I thought were very harsh. There was one by Wayno and Seb Davis. But I have to say, the one that annoyed me the most was the very first one from kickoff. Cardiff kickoff, within seconds, Shane Lewis-Hughes gets pinged for a neck roll. Cardiff kick to the corner, rolling ball. Alex Mann goes over in the space of 2 minutes. Why would you do that, Shane? I love you to bits, Shane Lewis-Hughes. I was singing your praises in the pub before the game. And you did that from kickoff. And look, as much as I don't value this coaching setup, that is an absolute coach killer, isn't it? Right from kickoff to do that, a neck roll, right from kickoff, kick to the corner, off, Cardiff go over the post. You can't do that. That is criminal. And it's a coach killer. And it really doesn't help our cause. And I love Shane Lewis-Hughes to bits, but that was completely unacceptable.
It was a bit daft.
A bit. It was very, very daft. And you knew straight away when Cardiff kicked to the corner, you knew they were going to go over the try line. You just knew it. But, my overall thoughts on the game, pretty much the same as you, Gareth and Gavin. I just felt very let down on Friday night. I came away from that game thinking, what's the point? Everybody knew the importance of this game. It's the biggest game of the season of Ronnie Parade. Despite the result being a foregone conclusion, this is our biggest game at Ronnie Parade. It draws the biggest crowd. We knew this game was a must-win. We rotated the squad to Glasgow because we specifically targeted this game. So, yes, that did put more pressure on Philo because he gambled on getting a win against Cardiff. We knew these home games were must-wins in the first block. We've spoken about it before. And then on the morning of the game, we have Lyn Jones launching an attack on his former employers. And whilst the timing wasn't great, you were kind of hoping to see a reaction to those comments. I thought, well, despite what we'll talk about it later, but the timing was terrible. But you're thinking, do you know what? Maybe this will put a bit of fire in the players' belly. Hopefully they've read it, they've seen it, they've heard about it. I'll spur them on. And what better way to respond to Lyn Jones's comments than getting a much-needed win over your local rivals? That would have been a really good middle finger up to Lyn, wouldn't it? To put in a really good performance, a battling performance, beat Cardiff. That would have been a perfect response. We needed to see a response like that on Friday night, but we didn't get a response. What we got was an underwhelming, lethargic, flat performance. And the Dragon supporters going quiet when Cardiff went over for their third try inside 20 minutes because they all knew it was game over. They knew we've seen this film many, many times before. And I feel for the supporters, because they're a loyal and passionate fan base that's never rewarded for their loyal and dedication. And maybe they never will be rewarded. And I'm going to be completely honest about this. I'm going to say as I see it, as I always do. If I get in trouble, I don't care. I am not seeing a team that's fighting for their lives right now. I'm not seeing a team fighting for their survival and proving the doubters wrong. Graham Thomas was right in his report. That performance did not scream, I will survive. To me, that was a performance that screamed, same old Dragons. And that was very, very disappointing. I wanted to see a reaction to Lyn's comments. I wanted to see a performance in front of the Welsh selectors, in front of a full house, and we didn't get one. And I feel personally really, really annoyed by that. I feel let down. And I know you do as well, Gav. That's the first thing you text me, wasn't it? I feel let down.
Yeah, 100%.
So,
it's all flooding back. I'm just starting to feel very sad again.
But that's how it is. I'm sorry. I'm just not seeing a team scrapping for their lives right now. I'm not seeing enough desire. I'm not seeing enough urgency. Look, the Dragons have a reputation problem. Everybody thinks they're a laughing stock in Welsh rugby and the URC. We have spoken so many times before about how they need to change the narrative, but they're not doing it.
No.
They're just not doing it. Why can't they do it? What was Lyn Jones's comments? Were those comments relayed back to the players? If not, why
stuck on the
not?
dressing room wall?
That should have been on the dressing room wall. If I was a coach there, I'd be telling them, look, boys, look what Lyn's saying. They fucking want you gone. They think you're shit. They think you're fucking useless. Yeah. They think you've done nothing in 20 years. They'll go out there and prove the doubters wrong, prove Lyn wrong. But they didn't do it, did they? No. They gave us another Dragonsy performance, as they always do. And I'm getting really annoyed. I got to calm down because I'm going to get annoyed. I'm really annoyed by that performance. Really annoyed. Because we should have seen a reaction, and we didn't get one.
Well, what they say in it, be the best at the things that acquire no talent. Work hard, work the hardest. Like there's every reason to be at an emotional high for that game. Like I said, all the cutting stuff, it's a derby, there's a big crowd, Wales selection, everything you need to be up for that game. And I just didn't see it. Conceding 3 tries in 20 minutes.
But that comes down to systems as well. And the systems are the issue for me. Yeah. We're not solid enough defence. We're not creative enough in attack. That's not always to do with the players.
Yeah, and like you already said, coach killing. Like Philo's not telling them to go out there and kick the ball straight up in the air or sideways, or I think one went backwards. It wasn't even windy.
That was poor. The kicking was poor. Yeah, and that's that is down to the players.
But it's not many things in a Welsh derby you really need to nail to probably get the win. Because you don't need to be world class and pull something out the bag. Like if you're emotionally there in defence and you've got a good kicking game, you probably win the game. And I think that's what Cardiff did.
And rugby's a simple game. There's a couple of basic skills, and if you can just nail down those basic skills, it's not really that difficult a game. You need to be able to pass the ball, you need to be able to run the ball, you need to be able to tackle, and you need to be able to kick to give yourself territory and time. And we can pass the ball, we run with very little direction or sense of urgency, and the kicking was poor. And I think kicking is an essential part of modern rugby. But it's
Yes.
just, but those people, like, they'll say, oh, why do we kick it so much? You watch a game like that, you go, actually, I think you're probably right.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
I
when you
stand
do
by my
watch us,
comments. Though.
why do we kick it so much? Other teams should, but yeah, our
We kick it poorly. We kick it poorly.
Yeah, kicking poorly is a. I find it so hard because it's our team, isn't it? They're our Dragons, they're our boys, and they do work hard. And like I love all our players. You go through that team, and I think like I could pull up positives about every single player, but do we accept? Not so much accept mediocrity, but is it just what we're used to? Like, just trying isn't enough. You need to be, you need to be quality. Like, I really like Angus O'Brien. He's a really good all-round player, and he tries really hard, and you can see he really wants it. But is that enough? Like, is just being good and trying hard enough? Is he good enough? Have we accepted that level of player in our starting lineup when really players like Hugh Anderson got much higher ceiling?
Yeah. And it's frustrating because, the message is get down, support, back the boys. We need your support more than ever. And it's true, they do. But when you put in performances like that, you got to give people reasons to believe in you, haven't you?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You've got to give supporters reasons to make them think that you're on the right path. And I'm just not seeing it.
Well, there's a
I'm
lot of
not seeing
people
it.
who used to go to the Dragons, and I know them many moons ago, who don't go now. And I spoke to them on Saturday,
Mm.
and they flicked it on the telly, and they were like, "Yeah, that looked absolutely crap." And they're like, well, "Obviously, they're not coming back. We're doing nothing to bring fans back performing like that." And it's not a blip now. It's gone on for so
Gone
long.
on for years. Years. And this is where people, again, we'll come to it later, but this is where people will look at Lyn Jones's comments and they'll go, yeah, he's right. Look at them on Friday night. Lyn
Yeah,
was right.
recent memory, he's not far wrong. And because we're being so poor now, we are not getting as many players in the Welsh squad because it is harder to stand out in such a poor side.
Mm.
But it's not a good Welsh team at the minute as well.
Yeah.
Which makes it even more depressing, really. But
When you look at that team, though, when we did the last one, we didn't know what the team was going to be. I looked at that team and thought, oof, that's a good Dragons team. I like that Dragons team. Yes, 2-12s isn't ideal, but, injuries, they are what they are. I thought, that's a good Dragons team.
But Gareth, how many times, this is part of the problem now, how many times over the years have we said this as Drag supporters? Where we've looked
Yeah.
at the team and we've gone, that's a good squad, that's a strong Dragons team. And then they take to the field and they're absolutely shite.
And
how many times has this happened, Gareth, over the years? It's not good enough, mate. It's not good enough.
So that's happened so many times, but with so many different players, it's like it has to come down to the coaching culture as well. That has to be. For God's sake, I don't like saying we need changes at a coaching level, but I do feel that we need a complete clear out of all staff to completely freshen up the place because it feels like there's a curse over the Dragons at the minute, and we can't seem to lift it.
I don't. It's not a curse, or is it? Let's be brutally honest. This is
No, it's not.
It's a professional sport, and we just haven't had the right people doing the right things for a number of years now in various positions. And I don't think it's Fido's issue. It's not solely. It is just a deeply ingrained culture now that we have to break. And something Buttress said when he spoke to us in the summer, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You know, it's about changing the culture and getting those clutch moments, and we haven't done it yet.
Still not happening,
No,
though.
and I think we're running out of time to get it done. You
Yeah.
know, quite literally, we are running out of time, isn't it? Because
Yeah.
next week or whenever it is, we're going to hear what the proposed idea is for the structure of Welsh rugby.
Yeah. This team looks like it's on borrowed time. That's how they played on Friday.
Yeah, I
It
agree.
looks like a team on borrowed time. I'm not seeing a team fighting for their lives, scrapping, doing everything they can to prove the critics and doubters wrong. It's a team on borrowed time. That's the impression I got.
Do you think it's because of how poor we've been over the last few seasons that we're harshly judging us this season? Do you think it's because of that legacy, or is it if we purely looked at this season, is it as shit as we're making out to be?
How is it different to last season, Gareth, would be my question. How is it different to the season before? It's not. We're still not winning games.
So, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, we're still not winning games. I'm still not sure how we're going to win games.
We nearly beat Cardiff last year. We didn't come at no point on Friday night did I think we could win this.
No, me.
Which is a real sad way to spend 80 minutes watching a derby to not at any point think you've got a chance. So, yeah.
There was a point, and it was like the point where I just and I'd been in London all day for work, so I wasn't exactly in the greatest frame of mind anyway, having paid £9 for a pint of Guinness Zero, but that's another.
Good God. Daylight robbery, Harris.
Oh, London, isn't it?
Oh,
but,
yeah.
When Angus kicked the penalty that drew us within 7 points, and I went, oh, well, at least we got a bonus point. And then I was like, oh, my God, is that where we are?
But that's how bad we are. We're like over the moon because we get a bonus point.
But it doesn't matter to us either, because what are we fighting for?
What good is a bonus point when you've lost 20 games against your local rivals? What good is that?
A point just doesn't, a point away, if we picked up a point on the road, I'm like, that's improvement. A point at home to Cardiff, no.
It was all very flat. And I just came away from that game really disappointed and let down, as were our supporters. Let's ask our listeners then what they thought. So we ask our listeners for their instant reactions to the game on our social media channels, because it's not just about us. The podcast's about listeners too, and we do like hearing from you. We've built a good following on this pod now, and we always like to hear what you guys think as well. So let's go to listeners' comments then. Yayan Coombe starts off. Hello, Yayan. He says, really, really, really disappointed performance that lacked desire and pride. Well, I'm glad other people are saying it, not just me.
Yeah. It's a fucking derby.
I feel like I'm the bad guy on this pod sometimes, so I'm glad other people are saying it, because it's got to be called.
I think we've all said it, haven't we?
Yeah, but I always feel like I'm the one that's, to be fair, you two don't get certain phone calls and messages, do you?
It's because you're the star of the show, mate.
Well, I'm the voice of the Dragons, apparently. So I keep getting told.
You are Paul McCartney to our Ringo Starr and George Harrison.
I'll take that. He says, disappointed performance that lacked desire and pride. It was painful to see Cardiff turn up, not play particularly well, and win easily. He says his positives were Wainwright and Niall Armstrong. Mark Williams says, another 2 years of my life that I won't get back. Yeah. Terry Besson says, think I've just watched my last Dragons game. Bristol for me in the future. Graham Shamel says, we need a new attack coach. The sooner the better. Mark Jones says, clueless in attack, offer no threat at all to a well-organised defence. After 2 or 3 phases, we just kicked it away. Ross Wilson says, I like this. I'm not sure how much more I can take of this. For God's sake, it's Cardiff. They're hardly world beaters. The attack was toothless. Discipline was poor. Cardiff weren't even that good, which unfortunately shows how desperately poor we were. A loss against the Ospreys, and that's a season gone. That target on our back just keeps getting bigger and bigger. Serious questions need to be asked of Philo and the coaching staff. Matthew James Rees says, I think having a real seasoned attack coach is the final key to get this team moving. Griffith Thomas says, by about 60 minutes, I thought most of the players looked completely demoralised. Do we agree with that, or do you think that's a bit over the top? Did you get that impression we looked demoralised after 60 minutes? We never looked like a team that was going to win, obviously.
I don't know. It just felt really, really just kind of desperate at times.
Yeah, I wouldn't say demoralised, but there are players in that team. There's players in that team who kept going, but Yeah, I think between the team and the crowd, there was definitely a feel of, this game's gone.
Yeah. Hefin Davis says, not a good look for Dragons when WRU want to reduce number of regions. No, I agree. Alex Don says, just cut us now. Save us the pain and more losses. He says, I've supported the Dragons for years and it's inevitable. I don't want it to happen, but every week we are putting our hands higher and higher for the WRU for the ones to get cut. Friend of the pod and Dragons Supporters Club chairman Dan Hallett gets in touch. Hello, Dan. He says, no penetration in attack. Wayno being flogged to death. Defensively, we were okay, but not as good as previous years when defending our line. He said, Tina's had a poor kicking game. Armstrong looked good when he came off the bench. He says, if we don't win next week, Tia will be under huge pressure.
Yeah.
Now, okay, so I'm going to add two things to that. First of all, I think Philo is under huge pressure already, regardless of that Ospreys game. Secondly, and it does need to be said, Philo's record so far in charge of the Dragons is very grim. So Philo's been in charge now for 20 games. He's won just one game. He's drawn one. He's lost 18. And he has a win percentage of 5%. And as Gareth rightly pointed out to me earlier today in the URC, Philo has a win percentage of 0%. How do we feel about that?
Well,
would any other club tolerate a head coaching record like that? Any serious professional club?
No, of course they wouldn't, because it's nonsense.
Yes.
0% win rate.
In the URC.
Yeah, in the URC. It's absolutely unacceptable. It's...
So why do we accept it then?
Well,
why do we accept it?
I don't know. There's a lack of clarity of thinking. That's my view on it. We want to get better. We don't know how to get better. We've got somebody we brought in to make us better who hasn't done it. So we're continuing at doing that in the hope that it will now get better. It's not going to get better. I've got nothing against Philo, and I know he's loved by Ospreys fans, but he hasn't done the job.
That's nothing.
No, there's nothing.
I don't care about that.
No, it's nothing to do with us.
I don't give a monkey's chuff about how good he was at the Ospreys. As a coach for us,
he hasn't done the job he's paid to do.
No,
because he's won no games. The issue is, and we said this last time, just before they sacked Di Flan, who do you bring in? Well, I think that needs to be something that's considered. Who is out there? Who could do the job? Who would be available? Who could we afford?
Who would want it?
Yes, exactly. If you come to the Dragons, you are risking your reputation, aren't you?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You are. Yeah. I'm sorry, but you are.
I think, at times last season, there were maybe some mitigating circumstances to some of the losses. Went to South Africa and calling out semi-pro players with all the injuries. But yeah, the record is unacceptable. And we know we need to change. The owners have known, right, we need to change, we need to improve. But we haven't brought in people with a track record of improving at this level.
No, good point.
So I don't look at anyone on our coaching ticket CV and think that is quality. It's just not good enough. And you think, if you're trying to drag yourself out of a hole, we need the best coaches we can possibly attract. Maybe they are the best we can attract. That is a big issue. But I would be looking at, in the summer, thinking we need a completely new backroom staff and pay through the nose for it, because otherwise it's never going to change. And you say, like, why do we accept it? I genuinely was asking myself, I had a kids' party Saturday, massive hangover, not a great place to be, wallowing away at the back of a disco hall and not feeling great. And I was saying to my mate, I was like, why do we keep going? Or why do I keep going? And he was like, well, he doesn't go anymore. He hasn't gone for years. He says, well, really, you should vote with your feet. If you don't go, then you're showing you're not accepting it and you want change. But then also, I want to support the club. I love this club. Everything the club's given me over the years, I want to support the club. And I don't want to not support players who are giving them all. How could I not support an Aaron Wainwright or Brodie or these players who do give everything for the shirt? I wouldn't feel right not supporting them. And I think you do have to go through the dark times. But fucking hell, they are testing me. I've never felt it's been this tough because we've had so many false dawns. But I feel like there has been excuses. I don't think there's an excuse now. That was a good team we put out. We were shit. And let's be honest, the Sharks have been absolutely crap. We should have beat them round 1, but we blew that as well. And you just think it's probably going to get worse. That's what's scaring me. I can't see the season now taking an upward turn and us learning lessons and going and winning 4 or 5 games this year. I'm thinking, shit, are we going to win a game?
It's really hard when you look at the fixture list to see who we're going to beat. We'll talk about Ospreys later. We know that they don't like coming to Rodney Parade, and we do have a very good record against them in Newport. But it's 4 games in. I'm already looking, thinking, who are we going to beat? Yeah. We have not looked like winning this season, apart from the Sharks. But even that was sort of a comeback. That would have been a smash and grab, wouldn't it? If we'd beaten the Sharks,
The thing is, teams can't afford now to come here and not win, and maybe not even target a bonus point win. So Connaught can't come here and just think, well, it is what it is. Rainley at Rodney Parade, can we be asked? They think, no, we need to win because everybody does.
Yeah.
You can't afford to slip up at the Dragons.
No. Every opposition coach looks at the Dragons and they target 5 points.
Of course they do.
Every single coach will look down on the Dragons, and you always circle and can say, right, we've got to beat the Dragons. We have to beat the Dragons.
Yeah.
That's the reality. That's who we are. That's who we are. Are we allowed to get that way? That's the frustrating thing. Dave Bealmore says the coaching staff have got to go if Buttress and co are serious about this being a region in the future. That's exactly what you're saying, Garth. Ian Latham says our attack was poor once again. Should we consider changing our attack coach this early into the season? They won't. I mean, we should, but I don't think they will. Should Niall Armstrong get the nod to start against the Ospreys over Rodri Williams, who had a disappointing game? I have been very disappointed with Rodri, mind. I think he was not been very good this season so far.
Massively outshone by the Cardiff 9.
I think so as well. Loaf gets in touch. He says, why didn't I drink? Because you were driving, Loaf, weren't you? Was he driving?
He was driving, yeah.
That's why you didn't drink, you dull bugger.
Imagine watching that sober mind.
I've always said you've got to drink when you're watching the Dragons.
I was watching it sober.
Oh, dear Lord. Mike Downing said the one thing that stuck out for me was that there wasn't a single minute during that game where we looked like we could win it. That's a good point.
Well, that's exactly the point.
Yep, spot on. Ben Stradlin, he says, where was the urgency we saw in the last 10 minutes for the other 70? It's a good question. It's a good question because we only did seem to come alive in the last 10 minutes. What else have we got? Anthony King says, pay a professional coaching group that inspires staff and players. Don't make it jobs for the boys. Niall James says, new attack coach should be looked at. Andy Hossack says, all our worries and comments from end of last season are coming true. We're killing ourselves in front of the WRU at the worst time. We're not helping ourselves, are we? Let's be honest, we're not. Matthew Williams says, same old. Can't see us beating the Ospreys this week. Bright side, though, De Beer puts it about. Yeah, he does, fair play. And Beddle looked like the 7 we needed. Yeah, Beddle's really, really good. I like to see him start again as well against the Ospreys. I think he deserves another go, doesn't he? Ian Corton says, 2 poor teams. No real effort. Rubbish atmosphere. Fair enough. Kevin Jones said, I left at half-time. That's me done with the Dragons. It's worrying, isn't it, when you hear comments like that?
That is worrying, and that as owners should be really concerned that when people are saying they're not returning.
Will they listen, though? Will they listen? Harry Crabtree, Cardiff are not that good, and we look clueless for most of the game. Not sure I can watch Rodri and Angus kick aimlessly much longer. Gareth Davis says the worst part for me was that Cardiff weren't that good. There's a lot of comments about people saying Cardiff weren't that good, but as we've already said, they didn't need to be. They don't need to be good playing the Dragons because they have such a psychological hold over us that it doesn't matter. It's a sad fact, but that's just how it is.
And it's no disrespect to Cardiff because in many ways they were good, very error-free,
They did what
played
they
the game
needed to do.
well.
I wouldn't say
They
they were
know
no
how to
great
play it.
shapes by
Well,
any means.
It was just competence.
Yes, that's
It-
what I mean. They just did what they had to do.
It was basic competence, but that does win games.
Well, it certainly does against the Dragons, yeah.
Uh,
Andrew says you don't win any games when you concede within minutes of kickoff. Twice now at home. Like Jamie has said before, it's very Dragonsy. It's just not good enough at this level. Not sure where win is coming from. Ellis Perry says, as you've said before, we are statistically the worst attack in the league. How bad does it need to get for it to change? He asks. I don't know.
I thought we hit rock bottom years ago, but
yeah, I know it's hard to
Still
say how
digging,
much
isn't we?
lower we can go. Matthew Owen says, bit of an injury update for you. So thank you for this, Matthew. He said, I spoke to Rio after the game. He's got a dead leg and should be fine. I'm not sure about Rob Hunt's injury. I think he went off with a HIA, didn't he? A head
HIA,
knock,
yeah.
so he might not be available, depending on protocols and stuff. Thought we were good in patches, but we can never muster a complete performance. We need an experienced attack coach. Same old story. And then Gav Haycock, then final comment, says, shout out to George Knott. He came over to Ronnie's bar to say hello and then said he had to go and say hello to the wheelchair guys who couldn't come over here. Cracking bloke, George Knott.
what a guy.
He's
And
a nice guy.
We actually clapped George Knott when he was subbed off as well on the terrace. We clapped him off, even though he was in those dirty colours.
Did you give Tane a nice warm welcome?
Yes. There was a bit of banter towards Tane, all in good jest.
He did all right off the bench. He made one big carry, didn't he?
Yeah, but give away the pen, didn't he, leading up to Carter's try?
I think. Basham's always going to give away
same old Tane.
penalties.
Yeah.
yeah,
But
that is his modus operandi, isn't it?
Yeah. He's a great carrier. Yeah. But
Yes, but you're going to get penalties with Tane. You might even get a card or two as well. But
yeah.
right, let's move on from that then. That's the game done and dusted.
Well, I'm just going to drop my lyrics in.
Oh, please do. Sorry.
So
Yes,
no,
yes.
it's fine. It's fine. I did have a plan. I was going to use the lyrics of "Blood and Thunder" by Mastodon.
Great song.
Great song. White Whale, Holy Grail is a lyric from just about the Cardiff thing. But I realised, actually, no. And I've gone slightly away from the best metal band of the 21st century towards Elton John.
Oh,
And it's sad. It's a sad situation.
sorry seems to be the hardest word.
Well, winning seems to be the hardest word in this case, I think.
Winning seems to be the hardest word. Maybe that's what the Dragons should run out to at Ronnie Praise, then Fabian underdog.
Yeah.
Right, okay, let's talk about... I think it's important that actually we address this. We need to talk about what Lyn Jones said. On the morning of the derby, former Dragons coach Lyn Jones appeared on Radio Cymru's breakfast show. And this is what he said. What have the Dragons done for the game in Wales over the last 20 years? Almost nothing. Everything in rugby is business, so you have to be worried for them. If the Union go ahead with their plans and there's one team to go, of course it will be the Dragons because they haven't been successful over the last 20 years. Dragons, as you would expect, were not very happy with Lyn's comments. I know Rhys Blumberg put out a tweet on X saying, criticising the timing. It was very poor timing, I have to say. What did we make of those comments? Because I think the most surprising thing for me is Lyn, having coached you, having been a consultant, having his son play here, let's not forget. That was him twisting the knife, wasn't it? Like, we know how bad Dragons are. We know they have a reputation problem. But what they don't need right now is former employees going on radio twisting the knife like that. It doesn't help our cause in the current climate. Any of you two can chip in if you like. What did you make of it?
Right. What he's saying, everybody's got an opinion on it at the moment. And it's just not helpful because there's a lot of noise in the situation and none of it's helpful, particularly to us at the minute, because we just aren't doing what we need to do, are we? But, when was Lyn Jones last relevant would be my question, I suppose.
Yeah, that's what I said online. Just an old man trying to stay relevant, really, and it's just a nothing comment, no substance behind it. Look, I know we're shit, but we have done a lot for Welsh rugby over the last 20 years. So
okay, I'm going to play devil's advocate now, right? What have Dragons done for Welsh Rugby? Bear in mind, I am playing devil's advocate. And does Lyn Jones have a point? Because to be honest, I've seen a lot of people on social media saying Lyn's right. So you need to tell me now, or just explain why you think Lyn is wrong. What
Well,
have we done?
first of all, Cardiff are never making the playoffs without playing us twice a year. So that's something we give Welsh Rugby straight away. 10 points to Cardiff every year, guaranteed. So, no, but produce Toby Faletau, Wales' greatest ever forward, Dan Lydiate, current internationals like Elliot D, Aaron Wainwright. We shouldn't have to justify our existence, but I get your point. We've produced plenty of players for Wales. We've produced plenty of fantastic derbies over the years, and let's be honest, the stuff we do in the community and for the wider sort of community and the kids coming through for rugby should be massively applauded. Sadly, results are what really matter, but the stuff off the field is second to none at the Dragons, and we do a lot for Welsh Rugby.
And what Lyn didn't mention, in that period, we've been fairly consistently the lowest funded team within.
Yeah, that was going to be my point.
Within that sector.
Yeah.
So, and I was having a conversation with a friend of mine today, not about rugby, he's a football fan, he's a Celtic fan. And just about, he was, because I said, like, Scottish football is no competition. And it's because the best club, the best funded clubs always win. Well, you can't expect a lot of a team that's been consistently the lowest funded.
Yeah.
Well, we've lost our excuse in the last couple of years, but if you're talking about 20 years, you've got to be, context is important.
Yeah. And you're spot on, and that was the point that I was going to make, Gavin, was what Lyn didn't No, it's fine. No, you're absolutely right. I'm glad you said it because you're backing up my point. What Lyn failed to mention was when he was in charge of the Dragons, and I've seen a lot of people say, oh, well, Lyn did nothing at the Dragons. Actually, he had a 39% win record. Now, for the Dragons, considering we are one of the worst teams in Europe, a 39% win record isn't actually that bad. In fact, only Chris Anderson and Mike Ruddock have a more successful record, and they coach fewer games. So actually, Lyn did, I'm going to push back on people saying Lyn did nothing. Lyn did a decent job. But Lyn always complained about the lack of resources when he was here at Rodney Parade. He was always complaining he didn't have the budget to sign players, he didn't have facilities, and he wasn't the first or the last Dragons coach to complain about that. The fact of the matter is, for the last 20 plus years, Dragons have historically been underfunded. That's a fact.
Yeah.
The problem is, however, the last few years where we found ourselves on a level playing field with the other three teams, we're still failing. And that's what's letting us down. So historically, the two go together hand in hand, doesn't it? So if you're underfunded and you haven't got enough investment, you struggle to attract players and coaches. Ospreys were very successful because they had guys like Rob Davis and Mike Cuddy pumping millions into them, signing all these Galactico players. Cardiff had success, but purely because of Peter Thomas, because he was pumping millions into them. And they were able to go out and sign Ben Blair, Mama Molatika, Xavier Rush. Dragons didn't have anyone pumping that kind of money into the club like the others.
Scarlet, and then we lose the players.
Exactly. And Scarlet's always had a team of funding directors, so they invested. We never had that level of investment. We weren't signing top quality players like the other three. If we had a Mike Cuddy at our club or Peter Thomas, maybe it'd be different, but we didn't. So I think that's important. It's just, for me, I'm more annoyed, not at the past. I'm more annoyed at what's happened in recent years, because we have found ourselves on a level playing field with the other three, and we're still failing. Supporters used to say to me all the time, and even my dad said this, he said, oh, people criticising the Dragons. Well, if they were on our budget, let's see how they get on then. If they had our budget, well, we've all found ourselves on the same budget, and Dragons are still shit. That's the problem right there. That's
it. Years ago, you could say, oh, well, Ospreys have, taken Ian Goff off us, and Sam Perry played for Newport and then the Dragons, and then he's gone as many times for the Ospreys. We develop these players and they get pinched. But now, no, there's no excuse. That is the frustration. But to sum up, I think Lyn Jones can just fucking do one.
Fair enough.
Lucky I didn't see him over Rodney Parade because, well, he probably could have just beat me up, really. But
he does actually do it. He does a lot of commentating for S4C, doesn't he? Over at Rodney Parade. So I was just shocked it came from Lyn, someone who's worked at the club. His son played there, he knows the struggles of the club. And for him to stick the knife in like that, like when it was Warburton, it didn't matter because he had no affiliation with the Dragons, did he? But Lyn
No.
does. Like, he coached us. His son played here. He was a
He does
consultant
come
here.
up with some shit, mind, doesn't he?
Well, that's
Like,
why
he
he's
always
called Lyn
has.
the Lip. That's why he was called Lyn the Lip.
We shouldn't probably take him too seriously. But yeah, it's not really what Welsh rugby needs, is it?
Someone said to me on the
No.
weekend, because I've spoken about getting Lyn Jones on the pod, haven't I, previously? Someone said to me on the weekend, "Oh, I bet you still do you still want Lyn Jones? I bet you don't want him now." I said, "No, I do actually. I'd love to get even more so now.
Yeah,
Even
fantastic.
after
Explain
those
yourself.
comments, you come on this pod, boy, and explain yourself." Because I got some questions to say to you. Because you know me, boys, I don't give a fuck. I'll tell it to this, and I'll say to Lyn. I got a few things to say to you, Lyn. Actually, and I tell him straight. But if he had said they've done nothing for the past, I don't know, 7 years, then to be brutally honest, he has a point.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
the Dragons have done sweet FA in the
True,
past
true,
7 years. And we can't deny that.
No.
But it's not fair to talk about the past when we were traditionally and historically the least, lowest funded club. You get what you pay for in sport.
Yeah, of course.
You get what you pay for. Unfortunately, we didn't have the millions that Ospreys were spunking on these players. We didn't have
I'd
the
like to
millions
know how
that
much
Peter
we
Thomas
spend
was
on.
spunking on these players. Your Sav Rushers and your Ben Blairs.
Well,
I wonder how much we spend on coaches compared to other teams.
I have
Less.
no idea.
That'd be interesting, wouldn't it?
But I was when I was having a conversation with my Celtic supporter mate about the thing. The 6 teams who've been in the semi-finals of the URC are the 6 teams with the highest salary budget.
Yeah, because you get what you pay for, and money talks.
Yeah.
You can punch above your financial weight, which is something that Dragons should be doing. Connacht have done it over the years. They never, we talked about this before, they never had a shoestring budget like was being portrayed, but they were still funded lower than the other 3 Irish provinces, definitely, Leinster, Munster and Ulster. But they were still competitive. They were still good sides. So that's something that we haven't done. We haven't been
Cardiff
able
are
to
doing
punch
it
above our
now.
financial weight. Well, exactly.
I
When
don't
we
want
was
to
all
praise
on
them,
four,
but they're doing
4.5
well.
million, they were doing it. That's why I'm saying when we've all been on a level playing field, Dragons have still failed. That's my frustration. Not what happened years ago with Lyn Jones, Chris Anderson, and you go back to Kingsley Jones, and because they didn't have a pot to piss in the Dragons. They were skint. So and that's got to be taken into account. But in recent years, we have done nothing. But the timing was terrible, though, wasn't it? Like, I don't know what Lyn thought he was achieving by saying it on the day of a derby. But like I said, if it was me at the Dragons, I would have been telling the boys, I'd been using that as motivation, put a bit of fire in the belly and say, look, this is what's being said. You need to come out now, prove a point. You've got full house, you've got the Welsh selectors. This is your opportunity, to stick your middle finger up to Lyn. And they failed massively. And that's frustrating as well. Anything else to say about that? About Lyn Jones or any other points? No? Okay, it's time for a Gwent Rugby Roundup. Gav, what's the latest?
Well, let's start in Super Rugby Cymru, where Ebervale beat Llandovery 40 points to 22 on Thursday night.
Flying, isn't they?
Top of the league with a game in hand, unbeaten. Have beaten everyone quite convincingly. Just absolutely.
All right, Gav, stop showing off, man. He's loving this, isn't he? Look at the smile on his face.
I am. But look, we've had this conversation many times. That all the teams I'm involved with don't do very well. My rugby club lost 71-19 on the weekend.
I'm a Cleveland Browns supporter, mate.
Well, I still don't know. We've had this conversation. I'm a Vikings fan. I still don't know we managed to beat you the other week because we weren't doing anything. But good couple of drives towards the end of the game. But anyway,
moving on.
Going off the point. But so I am wallowing in Ebervale's success.
Good on you.
Variable results though in the SRC for the Gwent. So it's Pontypool winning 43-10 against Bridgend. They've, after post-out, Pontypool are bouncing back. But Newport's post-out continues, losing close result, but 28-26 away to Carmarthen Quins. Into the Premiership, Bargoed 41, Neath 31. Good win there for Bargoed. Also a good win for Newbridge, 40 points to 34 against Astrid Rhondda. Two high-scoring games there. And Cross Keys sadly did not complete the Gwent hat-trick, losing 26-19 away to Pontypridd. Into the Championship, and Abdeleri Blaenau Gwent 18, Bridgend Athletic 39. And seeing now within the Welsh setup, the reserve teams of clubs are going into the league setup and not just playing in kind of district rugby, and that would have been a tough game playing against Bridgend's second team, I imagine. Bedwas 40, Penaltha 6, and Talwyn, I feel sorry for him, trip away to Mountain Ash, very tough place to go and play rugby, and they lost 14 points to 11. Into Division 1 East Central, and Caerphilly, a good win for them, 17 points to 10 away to Penarth. Division 1 East, Blackwood 42, Abergavenny 14, Blaenau 34, Newport High School All Boys 14. Big local derby up on the top of the road, as we call it, Bryn Mawr 37, Blaenavon 7, and Monmouth lost 22, 33 points at home to Bedlinog. Into Division 2 East, excellent win for Caldicott, 65 points to 12 against St Genedd. A big local derby, Croes y Ceiliog 18, Pontypool United 30, excellent win for them. Cumbran 30, Newport Saracens 22, Pilharriers 16, Abercorn 23, and Usk 14, Rumney 63, a good win for Rumney. Into Division 3 East, Killeen 27, Risca 18, Fleur-de-Lis 21, Nandyglow 34, Machen 20, Cardiff 15. And I'll be honest, my geography of the Gwent region, poor, because I don't know where either of those clubs are, but might be 30 years living away that have led me to that. New Panteg 8, Gwynedd 14, and my localist of local clubs, RTB Ebervale 27, Chepstow 42. Division 4, Abertwysog 21, Bedwellty 21, Crumlin 21, Oakdale 8, Derry 31, Crickhowell 7, Llanillow 20, Whitehead 28, and Pontlanfraith 14, Tredegar Ironsides 18. So quite a few ding-dong battles in Division 4. A bit broader the results in Division 5. Betws 43, Fordside 13, Hollybush 27, Abersychan 15, and Trinant versus Bargoed Athletic was postponed. Division 6, Girlin 8, Brynifel 24, Mago 33, Old Talarian 17, Friends of the Pod New Tredegar 20, Penaltha Athletic 13, and St Julian's High School Old Boys 38, Hirwaun 22. Into the Dragons Athletic League, where Blackwood Griffins won 56-0 against the Newport High School Old Boy Expendables. Machen Quarryman, Machen and Cardiff playing again, but this was the Quarryman winning 20 points to 7 against Cardiff Gorillas, and Nelson Nomad 17, and SD Rats 31. And only the one result in the women's game for our side. In the Women's WRU Cup, SD 22, West Swansea Hawks 15, and sadly Ebervale lost by a walkover to Morriston in the Women's WRU Bowl. We also have a bumper selection of information from the Supporters Club. Let me just fire that up. So, first of all, the DOSC are holding a quiz night on November the 14th at Rodney's Bar, 7 p.m. Teams of 6, £10 per team. Bring your smartest mates. Boxing Day, Supporters Bus to Cardiff, packages from £12. Book now. Links and QR codes are all over the DOSC social media platforms. The All-Stars return to action on October the 26th against Port Talbot Panthers, 2 p.m. kickoff at Eugene Cross Park. And they very kindly asked if I would love to play, which I would, but sadly, I won't be able to do that day. But I will. I will play for the All-Stars this season. That is on my rugby bucket list.
Happy days.
because I would love to play at the Cross Park. And a reminder that before the game against Ospreys on Saturday, there will be a protest march against the potential axing of the Dragons by the WRU. It starts at 2:45 from Market Street, High Street, leaving at 3 p.m. to march to Rodney's Bar, that's gate 6, at the parade. All supporters welcome. And if you're a listener and you can make it, I think that would be great, just to show that, kind of despite what the results are saying on the terraces and in the stands, there is still support and care for our club.
Yes, absolutely.
on.
Well said, Gav. Well said.
I'll be that.
Good man. Before we get into the Ospreys preview, I just want to quickly touch on this. It won't take long. Wales announced their squad for the autumn series. Wales have faced Argentina, Japan, New Zealand, South Africa. Very tough itinerary, that is. I just want to ask you two, like I said, this won't take long. What do we think the probables and the possibles will be from a Dragons point of view? So the obvious ones for probables are Aaron Wainwright and Ben Carter. I do expect Ben Carter to be included because he's a very good player, and with Teddy Williams sadly out with injury, I think it's created an opportunity for Ben. I can't really think of any probables. I got more possibles than probables, but do any of you had any more to that list? Who you think definitely could
not
be?
for probables,
no probables. And Carter, he's kind of 50-50 for me. Not from a personal choice, just in terms of what's out there. But yeah, they're the two probables.
Possibles. I've got Brodie Coughlin, Hugh Anderson. I've got Rodri Williams written down because he was involved in the Japan tour, but his form is stinking at the minute, so I don't think he will be included. Rio Dyer, I mean, he seems to be falling down the pecking order, sadly. The back three is a very competitive area now. Do any of you two have any Dragons bolters or probables you think could make the team?
I don't think this is likely, but this is somebody whose form I believe deserves some recognition, but it's not going to happen. Is Matthew Screech, who I think has played.
Blimey.
Who has played, and I've never been
I was going to say, you haven't been a fan of Matthew Screech over the years, so I'm really surprised to say this.
I'm not a massive, I'm not saying he's a great player, but he's tried really hard and he's worked hard and he gets himself around the park, and his form has been good this season. But I don't think he'll get in the team. But I'm throwing his name out there.
Fair enough. Yeah, he has been good. He is a Welsh international, of course.
Yeah.
Gareth, any fun for you?
His collisions have been all right, Screech, in there. I think he's benefited from having a bit more competition at lock. It seems to spur him on. He was a bit hot and cold before, but yeah, he's looked good. Brodie, Ryan Woodman. I know he wasn't involved.
That's a good shout. Forgot about
that. Could be in his favour.
Yeah.
I think he's class. I think he's sort of what Wales want at 6 as well. He's 6'5".
I just think back row's too competitive.
It is,
at the minute, and I think that's what's standing in Ryan's way. I just think it's a bit too competitive. And
if we were winning games, he gets in. But
because I reckon Moriarty will probably be back in the squad. Just to bring a bit of ultra-violence 6, but I do like Woodman. Yeah,
I think he's got international sort of capabilities with, he's the profile of him, 6'5", really good line-out operator. What you need at 6, really, I think. Sad, I don't think Hugh Anderson has had enough game time. He's benched for the 2 home games.
Yeah.
These
are just wild cards. We're not expecting.
I'd like to see Hugh Anderson be getting more time at 15 first.
I think, kind of, you're probably looking at, in terms of the back three, Tom Bowen's probably the bolter, isn't he, at Cardiff? Because he is electric.
Oh,
he is. 6, I totally agree with you, Gareth. I think 6 needs to have the energy of a nightclub bouncer who hasn't seen his kids for a while and is not being allowed to, and he just needs to be that kind of frustration and ultra-violence kind of thing. And Woodman doesn't come across with that energy, but he has such a physicality.
And he's good at the line-out. He's a really good line-out operator.
He's a great line-out option.
Yeah, he's such a quality. I think centre's quite wide open, but I don't think we've got anyone really pushing that boat. So yeah.
I chatted to Ben James, as I mentioned earlier. We talked about the Nyron win, and he said to me what a lot of people said, including Squid Rugby, they believe if he was playing for the Ospreys or any other team, he would have been Welsh international by now. A lot of people think
Yeah,
that
fair.
about Nyron Owen. If he was playing for anyone other than the Dragons, he would have had, because he has been in Wales training camps.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well, he was when he was quite young, wasn't he?
Yeah.
he's a quality operator, isn't he? He's got a lot about him. Whether he's got the top end pace or physicality, I don't think he's got like a standout attribute to play top level rugby. But you don't know until he's
a
there.
lot further down the rank, though. Like there's a lot of taxis in front of him. Ben Thomas, Matt Llewellyn, Nick Tompkins,
who was actually playing well. Nick Tompkins,
Johnny Williams. They're all probably above him in the pecking order.
No, you're right. You're right. I don't want to be negative about this, but honestly, I can't see any more than 3 Dragons players in the Wales squad. I might be proven to be horribly wrong. Chris Coleman, we haven't mentioned him.
Well, he's not even getting on for us, is he? So
yeah, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, so
it could be one. It could just be Wainwright.
I think there is a possibility it could be one.
That would be very, very damning in the current climate. That would not help our cause either, would it?
No.
That would play into the hands of the Lyn Joneses and everyone else who wants the Dragons gone. See, they're only producing 1 player for Wales. The Dragons want to hope and pray that's not the case, because they will not help their cause going forward. But the negative PR would be really bad for them.
But realistically, that is a possible outcome.
It is. I definitely think Wainwright and Cardiff should be there, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I totally agree.
2, but 3 maybe.
I think Brodie should. Brodie should, but whether he will or not.
It's going to be very interesting to find out. Like I said, we are recording this before the squad gets announced. Maybe we will be wrong and it'll be, 4, 5, definitely no more than 5. But I think we can expect another low contingency in the Wales squad. Unfortunately, that's just how it is. Right, let's look ahead to Saturday night. I'm not looking forward to this one, even though it's my favourite derby of Rodney Parade. Dragons hosting Ospreys. The game that sends a shiver down the spine of Ospreys fans, because they know no matter how bad the Dragons are, they usually come unstuck at Rodney Parade. They don't like coming down here. They really don't like it up at Rodney Parade. And the track record speaks for itself. Ospreys have had a sticky start to the season. They opened up with a tough trip to South Africa. They lost against Bulls and Stormers, but fair play to them. They were very competitive in both games. They did beat Zebra in Bridgend, but they didn't get a bonus point. So they'll be kicking themselves about that, but they did get the win. And on Saturday night, they got a bit of a spanking against Glasgow at the Brewery Field.
They looked poor against Glasgow, I thought.
They were out-muscled, out-fought them. Glasgow gave him a good spanking. It was very disappointing.
Defensively poor, I thought.
Yeah, I can't remember. There was one try, he just ghosted straight through.
Yeah, it was come off, didn't he?
Yeah, that's right. I can't remember his name. He just went through like there was no one there. It was very strange.
No, it was like watching kids rugby. It was just that nobody made a tackle, nobody was in the right place, and he ran down the middle of the field.
Yeah. There's been some great moments though in this derby, particularly at Rodney Parade. And you'll know this, Gareth and you, Gavin. Mike Phillips getting absolutely rattled by the old Hazel Terrace.
Swearing at the crowd.
Yeah, love it. Dan Bigger's drop goal in the dying seconds, which hit the post, and the Dragons won by a single point. Who remembers that? Ross Moriarty sprinting across the field to put Hanno Dirksen on his ass when he was scrappy with Tame Basham. Love that. I got a clip of that, so I'll have to share it with you again. Luke Yendo's try last season, right at the death, to snatch victory from the jaws of defeat. The last time Dragons actually won a game in the league. So we've had some really good moments against the Ospreys. It was very enjoyable derby.
Alid Brew as well, running down the wing, stepping hooky, and some quality.
Matthew J. Watkins as well, the late great Matthew J. Watkins. Remember that one try?
Yeah.
It's a good fixture. It's a good derby, and I do like the Ospreys. I have a lot of respect for them. But it's always a game that you still want to win, and boy, do we need a win. So, Gareth, how do we feel about this one then? Ospreys come to town. Obviously, Dragons, we're not very good right now. We know that. I don't see what's going to change in the space of a week, but maybe something could. I don't know. How are you feeling about it?
Yeah, I'm not as excited as I normally am about a derby against the Ospreys because I've still got the weight of the Cardiff loss hanging over me. But it is a fixture that we don't hold any fear in it. The Ospreys are a better team than us, but they're always a better team than us, and we do manage to turn them over, like you said, especially when they had all the Galacticos. That was fantastic. I'm expecting a tight affair. It's normally actually a good game as well.
Yes.
At
It's
home,
enjoyable.
not at the Liberty. We get smashed at the Liberty.
Oh, every time. Yeah.
Yeah. They always put us right away.
Swansea.com.
Yeah. Oh, Swansea.com. Sorry. Yeah. Better record in Bridgend, mind. Look forward to that. But yeah, I think we can turn them over. Just I mean, it goes on to say we just need to be a lot fucking better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think there's huge selection changes to make. Obviously, we won't have a fitness report yet.
Sora, I'm going to ask a question now, and I'm not convinced I agree with this, but I'm interested. I've seen a couple of people say on our various social media about trying Inisi at 13.
He can play there. Yeah.
He has played there for Tonga. He has played there for Moana. Not Moana, what they call Pacifica. What's our view in terms of that? He can play there. Should he play there?
Yes.
I wouldn't be against seeing him at 13. Oh, go on, Gav. Then expand on that.
So seeing him live up close in Glasgow, and well, not that close, but at the Glasgow Stadium and then at home, he's built. He's not a slight winger, so he's got the size. I don't think he's electric pace-wise, but he's got good footwork and can create space. And I think
he loves a gap, doesn't he?
Yeah, and I think, well, why would we not want to get the ball in his hands a little bit quicker? It's a different position to defend from, so it's hard to judge on that. But his defences look pretty solid out wide, to be honest. Apart from maybe the cameo away in Ulster.
Yeah, that was poor, but he's looked a lot better since.
Yeah, he's looked a lot better since. He's looked like he's settled in. And I just think... let's not worry about what he's going to defend. Like, let's take the game to them. What do they want to face? Do the Ospreys want us to pick 2 12s, or would they be a little bit more worried if we have Anisi at 13? And so would they want to see 2 12s and Angus at 15, or would they want to see us to pick a proper 12, Anisi at 13 and Hugh Anderson at 15? I think they'd be a lot more worried if we went and thought, what can we do to you by picking Anisi at 13 and picking Hugh Anderson in the starting lineup and taking the game to them.
And I think that would be good for the fans as well, because it shows a bit of intent, doesn't it?
Yeah, something to get behind. Like, some of the days under Paul Turner, we used to get beaten up front a little bit, but we used to be scrappy. But we used to throw the ball around from everywhere when we had players like Terry and Brew and Martin Thomas at fullback. We'd play a wild game, and you could get behind that. And sometimes it comes off, sometimes it doesn't. But at least you throw the punches. Like, we threw caution into the wind in the last 10 minutes of Cardiff, and the game was bloody gone.
But that was it, wasn't it? The game was done.
The game was gone, but the crowd were on their feet. And there was suddenly a lot of atmosphere for the last 10 minutes. You're thinking, well, why don't we play it? Why can't that be a bit of our identity? Why can't we take the game to them? Let's not worry about what the Ospreys are going to do to us. Let's take the game to them. Let's put the players on the pitch who are going to threaten the Ospreys. And I think Anisi would do that at 13. Or at least I'd like to see him have a go there.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I think Joe Westwood will get the nod at 13. He should be back for this one. So don't be surprised if he goes to Owen at 12 and Westwood at 13.
He had a good cameo appearance down their place, didn't he? Last season or the season before? Came off the bench.
Yes, that's right. He did, yeah.
He's
good with ball in hand. We know that.
Yeah. Can I just draw attention to something that happened this weekend as well?
I know what you're going to say.
The ghost of a certain player.
A creature from myth and legend was spotted in the flesh at Pontypool Park.
It's a blurry photo, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you hear what happened?
No.
So, Mr. Funaki, yes, he does exist. He was on the bench for Pontypool. He came off the bench. 5 minutes, he got a yellow card. So I've gone done for the rest of the game. He lasted 5 minutes. Came on, got out, Cardiff. That was it.
Fair play.
Money well spent, isn't it? Fair play.
Yeah.
Oh, so dragonsy, isn't it?
So,
What was I
Gavin,
gonna
would
say?
you pick Anisi at 13 then?
Yeah, go on. You see.
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, why not? At the start of this conversation, I wouldn't have, but you've convinced me, Gareth.
Oh, bloody hell.
Let's get players who can get a crowd on their feet and fired up.
Yes, come
So-
on. Oh, I've turned the corner. The Cardiff Blues have just washed away, and I'm up for it again now. Come on, let's
don't
get
say
into
blues.
it.
They
Well-
don't like that. You
well,
be
let's-
careful saying blues.
The Cardiff Rugbies.
Yeah, the Cardiff Rugby's have washed away. Yeah.
Did you
Yeah,
see
let's take it
Scrum
to
5?
'em.
Scrum 5 put out a tweet, didn't they? And then they said Cardiff Blues.
Yes.
And then all the Cardiff lot were going, it's not blues. And then like they fucking changed, they deleted it. They had to.
I've seen someone posting it being like, the internet doesn't forget.
Yeah. They were going nuts. It's the easiest way to wind up a Cardiff fan. Just call them the Blues.
Fantastic.
Or as I like to refer to them, the Cardiff regional side.
Yeah. So I think one observation I've had about the Ospreys watching them this season, and I've spoken to an Ospreys mate about this as well, their scrum is not as strong as it used to be.
No.
And that's something I've picked up on this season. I think personally they're really missing Nicky Smith.
Mm-hmm.
We knew that was going to be a big loss for them.
Totally agree.
I think they're missing him. I also think they're missing, we talked about maligned players earlier. I think they're really missing Adam Beard as well. Because I am in the Adam Beard fan club.
I think he's a very good player.
But there are people who just couldn't understand what he did, and he was always criticised just because he's not that big ball carrying lock. But his set piece work was exceptional, and I think they're missing him. So I don't want to say maybe that's one area we can target because we're not a strong scrummaging side, but they may not have that. They may not. What I'm saying is, I don't think they've got that dominance up front like they used to have.
Good behind now as well, though, when they.
But they have improved their attack. Yes, they have. I'll be really pleased to see Mr. Moriarty back at Ronnie Parade, one of my favourite ever Dragons players. Now, there's someone who should be in the Wales squad.
Yeah.
He is exactly what Wales needs right now. A dog in the back row. A ball-carrying, gnarly dog. Moriarty definitely deserves a Wales recall, and he's been very good for the Ospreys, actually. He was good. I thought he was their best player against Glasgow on Saturday night. He carried exceptionally well. And you just know he's going to have a really good game against us, don't you? You know, he's going to be on it. He's going to want to prove a point against his former club. I could see him having a very good game against us.
I love his energy. He could start a fight in an empty room.
Yeah.
And I love that. And that's what you want from a six. And Shane Lewis-Hughes has got that energy, but it just doesn't come across with the same absolute alpha levels that Moriarty does. Yeah, and I'm old enough to remember his dad and his uncle, who were amongst the dirtiest players I've ever seen in my life. Yeah. And, he just, I love, he feels so old school.
Yeah.
He feels like a player from the 80s.
I miss him. I miss him terribly at Ronnie Parade. And on the one hand, it'd be really good to see him, but I hope he has a quiet game.
Yeah,
it's similar like whenever
Faletau
comes down. Yeah, it's like when Faletau comes to Ronnie Parade. We love the guy, but we want him to have a quiet game.
Yeah, he's class, wasn't he? Top player. And I think they're going to have Jack Morgan back as well, aren't they?
They might. There's talk about Ryan Smith as well, the Australian lot they signed from the Reds. So it won't be surprised.
They're going to come here fully loaded, aren't they?
Yeah, but to be fair, they always do. They always bring a strong side to Ronnie Parade. Their squad will always look far significantly better than ours. They will look superior every time. But yet we've still found ways to beat them.
Yeah.
And that's the hope we've got to cling on to. You know? So, yeah, on paper, it's a mismatch in some ways. They are better than us man for man. But how many times have they come to Ronnie Parade and we've sent them home with their tails between their legs? Quite a number of times. So we got to keep that hope.
Yeah.
Gavin, how are you feeling about this game? Do you think Dragons can actually do the unthinkable and pull off a win? It would be full circle, wouldn't it? The last time we won the game was Ospreys and then beating Ospreys again. That would be quite funny. But how are you feeling about it?
Look, yes, we can win it. Of course we can win it. We've beaten them before. They didn't look great against Glasgow.
But they have a good side, Glasgow, and they've had some tough...
Well, Glasgow, one of the best teams in the competition. Yeah, there's no question about that for me. But I do think we can beat them. But I don't think we're going to beat them unless we do something different.
I agree. Yeah.
Unless we're willing to take risks in selection and the way we play the game. And I really do think we need to take them on up front and just give them a bit of a beating at the breakdown and at the set piece. And that's really, really important. That's going to be tough because you've got Moriarty, who is absolutely always up for it.
Yeah.
Well, let's just knock him off the ball as much as possible. And I would select Bedell again.
I would as well. Even if Thomas Young's available, because Philo did sort of hint, didn't he? Last week about Thomas Young. He said, didn't he say wait and see, or you'll see on Friday? Well, when he said you'll see on Friday, I thought, we're gonna have him back. We're finally gonna see Thomas Young in Dragons Colours. Didn't happen. But Bedell was class. Even if Young's available, I'll probably have him on the bench and start with. You've got to give him that opportunity again. It'd be really unfair to just drop him when they didn't have his confidence. I think
I would select him because he did slow the ball down. And if Morgan's playing, then we need somebody to fight,
Yeah, that'll be a hell of a battle, that would, wouldn't it?
You fight fire with water, not with fire. But, like to take on...
two Wales captains going at each other.
So besides maybe Anisi at 13, any other changes?
Anderson, fullback.
Yes. I would drop Angus. Yeah. I think Rodri and Angus have been disappointing. And at the time when you need your senior players to stand up, I'm afraid those two for me have not been doing it. I would drop O'Brien. I don't think he will get dropped, but I would. I'd have you Anderson. I would be very tempted to drop Rodri. I don't think Rodri's been very good at all this season. His kicking has been poor. His service has been slow. His passing has been erratic at times. The decision making, the Sharks game. I wouldn't be against starting Shea Hope and have Niall Armstrong come off the bench. I've seen a lot of people saying that they want Niall Armstrong to start against Ospreys. I'm not sure about that. It would be a big call, Mike, wouldn't it? Omitting Rodri completely from the 23. And I don't think Dragons are going to do that. I don't think they'll take that risk. But, maybe that is an option. You start Niall Armstrong, but you have Rodri coming off the bench. Niall Armstrong has done well off the bench, though, in the past couple of games. In fairness,
he got the crowd going anyway. He was screaming.
Yeah, what was he doing?
There was a line out. He gestured to the crowd to get us up for it, and then he was screaming at. Was it Evan Lloyd, the hooker, come on for Cardiff? Screaming at him to get the ball into the line out, but with a lot of anger and.
Good, that's what we needed. We need players a bit of fight. Yeah,
a bloke just said, "Come on, get the fucking ball in," and we all went mental.
That's what he said. Get the fucking ball in.
He was going nuts. He was screaming at him and gesturing and going, and we all got well up for it and started going nuts on the terrace and really getting behind the team. Why was that the highlight of the game? It took like 60, 70 minutes for that. That should not have been something we got up for. There should have been plenty of moments in the game for the team to get us up for it. And it took someone just shouting at someone. That's how low our bar is as fans, that we're ready to abuse Cardiff and get up for a game and back our team, that somebody just said, come on, and we were all up for it. Because before that, the team was flat. Oh, God, why did we bring that game up again?
Sorry. We need it's going to be difficult, but we need the crowd in good voice again, don't we? We need the terrace to make some noise. But I put it back on the Dragons and say, give them something to cheer for, lads.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I agree with your selections as well on the changes. I think players like Angus as well, like they're steady players, but if your team aren't a great team and need to find a way to win, a steady player is not enough. We need someone who can go and win a match, and I think Anderson's got it. Just let the boy free. He's class. Let's just play him. And what have we honestly got to lose?
Agreed.
Yeah, I mean, we lose every week anyway. So
let's still caution to win. Let's get behind something.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, predictions time before we wrap up. Gavin, your prediction, please.
Dragons by 1.
Oh,
come on.
I was not expecting that. Fair play. Okay.
Oh, no, sometimes you just got to throw yourself positive leap of faith time.
Okay. Are you sticking with that prediction?
Yes.
Oh, you're not joking. Okay, fine. I thought that was a joke.
Man. Love it.
Right. Gareth?
Dragons by 4.
Oh, you're all feeling confident and optimistic. I'm going Ospreys by 11.
Oh, you twat.
Look,
And I'm not joking either. I'm not joking.
Look, you're probably right, but
Something needs to happen. Something drastic needs to happen in the space of a week to make me think that we have a chance against the Ospreys. And I know we have a very good record against them at Rodney Parade. But I've got no faith or confidence in this team right now. I'm sorry, but I haven't. I haven't got that faith or confidence. I haven't got any faith or confidence in the coaching setup either. And I think Ospreys are going to come down here desperate to get a win over us. This will be their 5-pointer. Talked about before teams targeting us for 5-pointers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think they're going to look at us and go, boys, we need to win this. I think they will talk about their record at Rodney Parade. That'll be something that Mark Jones will be desperate to put right.
They'll be hurting over last year, won't they?
They'll be hurting over last year. To be fair, they did get a revenge because they absolutely walloped us in Swansea, because they always wallop us in Swansea, in fairness. But thankfully, we're playing them in Bridgend. And last time we played Ospreys in Bridgend, we beat them. So that's another thing. Absolutely. Their fans will be nervous about this, I guarantee you, because they know they can come down here and lose against us, no matter how bad we are. But I think they will get the job done, so I'm going Ospreys by 11. Sorry. I'm still annoyed about that Cardiff game, though, to be honest, that performance. So Dragons have got a lot of work to do to make me have a bit more hope and confidence in them, because right now I haven't. I just haven't. And on that cheery note, I will say, gentlemen, thank you as always.
Well, can I just have a slightly self-indulgent moment? And I want to end on a positive. So it's not really to do with Dragons, it's to do with rugby. So I played on the weekend. Got absolutely humped. But one of my teammates, Barry, played his first game in over a year. And he played because about a year ago, he was being treated for cancer.
Oh,
and
right, okay.
He came back like this weekend. To be fair to him, he was absolutely hanging. But it was great. Rugby can be a positive thing. And he said it was one of the things he wanted to come back and do. And it was just great to be able to see him on the field. So
fantastic.
So I'd it's slightly self-indulgent, but I'd like to end on a positive because, rugby can break our hearts, but it can also, drag us out and realise that life's for living.
He's not a Dragons fan, Gav, is he?
No, he's a Harlequins fan.
Okay, because he really would have been going through a tough time then, wouldn't he? No, it's a lovely story. Thank you for sharing that, Gav. Yeah, let's end the pod on a high. Let's do that.
Lovely.
Thank you for this therapy session, boys. I really appreciated it. Thank you to our friends at Riverside Sports Bar for their continued support of the pod. Best of luck to the Dragons, of course, on Saturday. Join the march if you can. Show your support. And until next time, thank you for listening, and we'll speak again soon. Ta-ra.
Cheers.
That was The Dragon's Lair, in association with the Riverside Sports Bar in Newport, an American-style bar with a proper Welsh feel. Join us again next week for more of the same.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.